Ladies and gentlemen, what just happened today is nothing short of a complete and total disgrace. You see, in a shocking 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court has just ruled that President Trump must release $2 billion in USAID-related foreign aid. And get this, one of President Trump's very own Supreme Court appointees, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, sided with the liberal justices to force this decision through. So folks, let's be very clear about what happened here today. One of our Supreme Court justices, who was appointed by President Trump himself, just ruled that foreign countries have more of a right to American taxpayer dollars than American taxpayers do themselves. Folks, this is an absolute betrayal, not just of President Trump, but also the Constitution, but you know what? Most importantly, the American people. But okay, so how did we even get here? Let's backtrack for a second. All of this started in mid-February, just a couple weeks ago, when an unelected federal judge, Amir Ali, who by the way was appointed by Joe Biden in 2023, blocked President Trump's executive order to put a freeze on all foreign aid. And guess what federal judge Amir Ali's justification was? He claimed that halting foreign aid would, quote, cause irreparable harm to the intended recipient countries. Excuse me? Since when is it the job of a U.S. federal judge to protect foreign countries instead of American people? But you know what? This entire situation actually gets even more infuriating. You see, federal judge Amir Ali wasn't even born in this country. He was born in Canada and only became an American citizen in 2019. And so this is the guy who once again was appointed by President Joe Biden just 2 years ago, who thinks he gets to dictate America's foreign policy instead of the President of the United States of America. Folks, every single aspect of this entire situation is insane. But so like I previously said, just earlier today in a 5-4 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld Judge Ali's ruling and forced Trump to release $2 billion in foreign aid. Now, you know what? Earlier today, Fox News had a great breakdown of this entire situation, so take a look at that. Then we're going to have a lot to talk about.
The U.S. Supreme Court upholding a judge's order that could force the Trump administration to resume foreign aid payments. A lot of this has to do with USAID, and Shannon Bream is on that. Shannon, what happened?
Okay, so this is one of the very first things from this term to make it fully to some kind of decision from the U.S. Supreme Court. And this is about foreign aid that was ordered to be paid out by a lower court judge. There were groups who take in USAID money, and they had gone and said, listen, this freeze is harming us. And they went to the district court judge, that lower court level, and he said, yes, the government has to pay this out. It went through the appeals, got to the Supreme Court. They, by a 5-4 vote today, say they won't put that judge's order on hold. But they've told that lower court, now you need to explain to the Trump administration exactly what money you want them to pay out. The dissenters, led by Justice Alito, also with Thomas, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh, which means that Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Barrett did side with the Democrat appointees on the court. They've said they're dissenting. And let me read you a little bit of this. They say the court makes a most unfortunate misstep that rewards an act of judicial hubris and imposes a $2 billion penalty on American taxpayers. They say the relief that's been ordered to pay this money out is an extreme response. It says a federal court has many tools to address a party's supposed malfeasance. Self-aggrandizement of its jurisdiction is not one of them. In plain English, they think the lower court got it wrong and was way out of bounds to order this money paid out. They say it's going to be to the harm of the American taxpayer. They've now said to that lower court, explain to the Trump administration exactly what they have to do. But the order stands. The money's got to go out.
Shannon, how big of a surprise is this? How do you find it?
Listen, anytime it's a 5-4, you can't be sure exactly. You know, it was a close decision. One vote flips either Roberts or Barrett the other way, and this is a different decision. So we knew they were wrestling with it, and the fact that this lengthy dissent has been written, led by Justice Alito, means the court really struggled with it. But it is a loss for the Trump administration.
And so here's the deal, folks. Not only is all of this a loss for the Trump administration, sure, but really it's a massive loss for the American people. And hey, you know what? Let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room. With all of the issues that we have here domestically in America, why are we sending $2 billion to foreign countries? In fact, here's my crazy idea. I think that money should be spent on taking care of Americans living inside of America. And you know what? The American people agree. In fact, take a look at this. According to a recent Harvard University political poll, 63% of Americans want all foreign aid to be frozen and reevaluated. So, hey, once again, not only is this Supreme Court ruling a betrayal of President Trump, but also a betrayal of the American people. And you know what? Here's something else to consider. Elon Musk recently made a great point about what's happening with these federal judges and unelected bureaucrats. He said, and I quote, "If any judge anywhere can block every presidential order everywhere, we do not have a democracy, we have a tyranny of the judiciary." And folks, guess what? That is exactly what we are witnessing right now. An unelected federal judge appointed by Joe Biden blocked President Trump's executive order, then a Trump-appointed Supreme Court justice sides with the liberals to uphold it. This is why President Trump has been saying for years that we need to drain the swamp. But you know what, folks? Let's talk about something even more important, the law. According to Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, the President of the United States of America is supposed to have sole discretion over foreign policy and foreign aid. What that means is that this entire issue isn't even supposed to be up for debate. And yet, with today's Supreme Court ruling, we now have a situation where an unelected judge has more power over America's foreign policy than the president himself. And so, to put it lightly, that is not how our system is supposed to work. But you know what, folks? Take a look at this. You see, the real conservatives on the Supreme Court are absolutely fuming over this decision. Justice Samuel Alito wrote one of the most scathing dissenting opinions of all time, and I want to read it to you guys. As he wrote, "Does a single district court judge who likely lacks jurisdiction have the unchecked power to compel the government of the United States of America to pay out, and probably lose forever, $2 billion taxpayer dollars? The answer to that question should be an emphatic no, but a majority of this court apparently thinks otherwise. I am stunned." And you know what, folks? Every single American in this country should be stunned by this decision as well. But you know what? Now we need to ask ourselves a pretty serious question. Just exactly why did Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett side with the liberals on this? Is she compromised? Is she just a fraud? Maybe she's just incompetent. But you know what? One way or another, regardless of the reason why she did what she did today was a complete betrayal. And by the way, she didn't just betray President Trump, she betrayed the Constitution, she betrayed the U.S. Supreme Court, and she betrayed the American people. Because she decided that this unelected Biden federal judge appointee should have more power over American foreign policy and more power over how American taxpayer dollars are spent than our elected president of the United States. And that, in my opinion, is completely unacceptable. But now, folks, before we wrap up with the video, I want to say real quick that I've actually gone ahead and made a community Facebook page where I'll be posting additional news and updates regarding all of this stuff. So if you guys use Facebook, please check out the pinned comment down below and give that page a follow. But everyone, I think that's going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this entire situation. Please like the video if you liked the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help a ton with my daily struggle against the YouTube algorithm. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.